especially the older ones. This also comes under oath. And do not shout at them, that's the next one. So as mothers and as fathers, as murabbi, we need to tell them what is the softer level of conversation that they should speak to their father and mother. And this reminds me that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I covered this point before, that the more we're softer, it gives impact to what we are saying. And the biggest proof is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Musa and Harun to Fir'aun, perhaps the most evil man on earth. This is what he told them. فَقُولَا لَهُ قَوْلَ اللَّيِّنِ. Layyin means the most soft way of conversation. And why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Musa and Fir'aun to adopt a softer, mild approach? Two things depend on it. لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ. Perhaps he will get nasiha, or yakhsha, or he fears of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It means that if our way of conversation, a style of talking is not softer, then the impact is not there. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. You have seen here, janah is wing, and that refers to the arms. Because when parents grow older and children grow younger, they have a strength we don't. And this amounts to giving support to the parent. But then there is an element of dhul. Because you have to make sure that you are humble at the same time. And humility in a way that it is seen, touched, and felt by parents. And then also not only the humility, backed by mercy. Here it's a component between that the awlad have to be humble and the awlad have to be merciful to their parents, because this is what pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then of course we covered that every child must know how to make dua for his father and mother. وَقُلْ رَبِّ رَحْمُهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. I don't know if did I cover the story of Abu Huraira's mom? Last time, okay. Let me just touch. Abu Huraira's mom was a mushrika, and Abu Huraira was a believer. And subhanallah, she used to stay in her hujra, the chamber or the room. And every single day, she used to curse, the worst of the curse that you can imagine, with regards to Rasulullah. This makes Abu Huraira very sad, and often he reaches the masjid crying. But at the same time, Abu Huraira had a schedule. He said that every single day when he goes to the masjid, before leaving, he goes to his mother's room, وَيَقُومُ عَلَى حُجْرَتِهَا, and he stands at his room and says this: رَحِمَكَ اللَّهُ يَا أُمَّتَاهِ. May Allah have mercy on you, my mom. كَمَا رَبَّيْتَنِي صَغِيرًا. As because you took care of me when I was صغير. Now, the difference between Abu Huraira was a believer and his mom was a mushrika, but at the same time, Abu Huraira was aware of the fact that even though she was a mushrika, she still had to be kind to the mushrika. It's the same thing that Rasulullah told Asma bint Abi Bakr, who said, my mother is a mushrika and she came. Do I have to be kind to her? And he said, yes. And then his mom used to reply, وَرَحِمَكَ اللَّهُ يَا بُنَيَّ. And may Allah have mercy on you, O my son, كَمَا بَرَرْتَنِي كَبِيرًا. As if you took care of me when I'm old. So that's a story that, as murabbi, as a tarbiyah giver, my point is that we need to sit with our children and tell them those stories that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the status of the parents so high that it is next to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After he demanded the believers to worship him, he said, be kind and nice and obedient to your parents. Now today's slide is important. he said, what are the recommended methods of teaching? So for younger children and for older children, it's different. The way Quran is revealed is called التلقين. وإنك لتلقى القرآن من لدن حكيم خبير. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Quran through Angel Jibreel with talqeen, so he used to read. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to reply, used to repeat. So it means repetition, louder reading, and then it goes to the chest of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he said at-talqeen. That's the method that we should apply. And this at-talqeen method is very, very effective with those like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, younger children. Because they memorize. You know the surah memorization? They memorize nasheed, they memorize song without mistake. And sometimes they don't even know how to read. So talqeen is al-manhaj al-rabbani, is the divine method. So if we adopt for our younger children, and that's why I mentioned to you last time about Ali ibn Abi Talib, إِلَّا عَبْمَعَهُمْ سَبْعًا. Until the age of 7, play with them. Ali ibn Abi Talib did not say that only you play with them for the sake of only playing. He said, teach them with fun. Yani adab has to come from the time that they are from the birth until the age of 7. That's why he said, use divine method of Quran. Takrar means a repetition. Because sometimes the children learn in one time. That's genius. But sometimes you have to repeat. Constant repetition makes them learn. And there is something called retention. Because the mind is like, you can imagine like a jar. So all mothers and all fathers are doing a jar filling process. Like I said last time. This jar filling process takes place at 2 places, primarily. One is school. Every school, teachers, they fill the jar of the students. So they open the lid and they put in it, from science to English to math to social studies to Arabic to Quran to manners to ethics to akhlaq. And when the school is over, they close the lid and children go home. That's one jar filling process. And so constant repetition and constant jar filling process will make them remember forever. And the proof is, al-ilmu fi as-sighar kan-naqshi fi al-hajar. That when you teach in childhood, it's like you carve in the stone. That's why it's the most effective method of frequent repetition. The second method, it is strongly recommended to develop routines. Ta'weed actually means to develop habits. A lot of time, parents face difficulties in managing their children because routines are not developed. Habits are not developed. So as a mother, and as I said last time, the mother has a lot of power. She has a lot of influence. Because of the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made her, she understands. And I'm not undermining the status of the father. So father in different ways. But because most of the time, the child is more attached to the mother, so the habit building comes basically from a younger age, train, orient, and develop a routine. So these 2 methods are very, very effective for younger children. Now with regards to older kids, those who go to high school, for example, you know what I notice is a lot of high school. I have a lot of friends, young friends, who go to high school. And I have a large number of friends who are they're very young. But somehow I am very much attached to them. And my philosophy is that the first thing I do is to try to befriend them. When I am their friend, then it's very easy to open the jar and I try to. Without friendship, you cannot approach them. That's why I shared the last time what Ali ibn Abi Talib said. See, subhanAllah, Ali ibn Abi Talib was back then at Rasulullah's time. And now research here says that when you teach older children, you cannot hit them, you cannot beat them up, you cannot even yell at them, you cannot use force with them. What here is saying, you have to develop a kind of friendship with them. And what Ali ibn Abi Talib said, that's from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Sahibhum sab'an." For the next 7 years, be their friends. So it's like musahaba, an emotional and social company. In my opinion, it's more needed for older children than younger children, because younger children are already small, they're innocent, they're already attached, their mindset is not expanded. So the middle schoolers, and I recommend, like say, from 7th grade, from 7th grade to 8th grade onwards until the end of high school, that's why it says for older children, something that is so beautiful. He said, Tarbiyah to shar, al-rabtu bil aqidah. He said you have to create connection with aqidah. To be honest with you, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me from saying something wrong, but a lot of older children, they do not have clarity on the question of aqidah. And subhanAllah, the aqidah asas is on the unseen. We didn't see, we don't see, and we will never see something which is the unseen. So for example, to make it simple, I recommend that personal time on a weekly basis, an hour, 2 hours time, or every day 15 minutes on breakfast table, dinner table, we need to discuss areas of aqidah to have more understanding. Because the more a child, when he goes outside, he has to protect his aqidah as well. The second one goes hand in hand. It's called Tarbiyah to shar, explain evil and its harm with reason and logic. A lot of times we need to explain what evil is. Because in the first slide, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us two responsibilities. We are al-amir bil ma'ruf, we are the one who enjoin what is right, but at the same time we are also an-nahi anil munkar. So we are the one who forbids what evil is. Now, the problem comes only when their mind is confused. So, as a murabbi, do we know murabbi now? Murabbi is a tarbiyah giver, right? So I can use. Murabbiyah is a lady. So when a murabbi, the tarbiyah giver, which is primarily the father and the mother, or a teacher, or an assigned tutor. You know, in Tabi'een's time, there used to be professional mu'addibin, professional character giver. The people used to bring their children and give them with the request that you keep my child at your home and give them only adab, teach them adab. This is not education. Education is happening in the school. So the more we explain evil and its harms, they understand. And the last but not least, Taghyirul Bi'ah, all the books that I have read, it says that change of environment works a lot better for older children. So if this environment is not healthy, friendship, tools, bad exposure, bad friendship, bad connections, sometimes we need to move. And a lot of authors of the books that I read, each time they talk about Taghyirul Bi'ah, the change in environment, you know what the story they mentioned? They mentioned that story from Bani Israel. He said this man, he killed 99 people. And then he realized that I'm doing something bad. So he wanted to be good. So he asked one of the sheikh. He said, I want to be good. He said, no, you can't. You killed already this much. So he said, okay, fine. There is no chance for me to be good. He said, no. So he just completed his 100. But then he realized that still I want to be good that's why this story also tells us that the alim, the murabbi, have to have proper education. because he cannot refuse guidance. So he met someone else who said, oh yeah, you can still change. He said, انتقل إلى أرض كذا وكذا. He said, don't live here, move. Move to this place. And this is the Ardu Salihin. This is the place where Salihin, or the pious people, live. So Al-Muhim, one day he wanted to go there. He died in the middle. So the angels of the hellfire came and the angels of the Jannah came and they started arguing. The Malaika of the hellfire said that this is, it's mine. It's mine because you know what he did. So the angel of Malaika, the angels of Jannah said that, because he started going to the right place. So until they decided, and you already know the story of what happened, that they agreed that let's wait for the first person who come here. We will make him a judge, and whatever he decides, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala squeezed the earth. And he said, Qisu, measure the earth. If he is closer to the place of evil, the Jahannam Malaika will take him. And if he is closer, and he was made shorter by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So taghyirul bi'ah, or the change of environment, is very, very essential and helpful. A lot of times, people change schools. People transfer from one locality to the other because of bad company. And I can tell you with all confidence that I have that sometimes it is healthy and sometimes it is strongly recommended to make sure that either environment has to be changed at home or place of learning has to be changed. Because some places of learning, it's not healthy. They are bad for their akhlaq, for their character. Until and unless or otherwise parents are so careful that they are right behind them. Now this slide is very important. Our children are exposed to so many exposures. It can be filthy, it can be bad, it can be indecent, in any form and shape. Either visuals, people, and now mashallah, devices. It can be movies, it can be internet, it can be anything. Now, this young man told me, I remember giving khutbah in Ford Masjid. And I spoke about some youth-related issues. So I mentioned about cartoons, I mentioned about movies and stuff. And I remember that khutbah because when I'm outside, I got a lot of high fives. So this young man, he told me, brother, I just want to be honest to you. I never listened to khutbah. I said, why? He said, brother, because I don't know what he's talking about. So I said, what do you do the whole time, like 20 minutes? He said, I text. So many of them. So I said, why you didn't listen today? He said, because you were talking something that I understand. And so many of them. Again, question of assumption versus denial. We assume that older children know, while they don't. That's the question. Until and unless, and what they go through in their mindset, nobody knows it. I know from this community, because I reach out, that's my habit. I just reach out to everyone. All these boys here, I just talk to them. And when I make friendship with them, they share with me their thoughts. So my point that I'm trying to make is the father and the mother, especially the older girls, they have a lot of issues, confusions on their mind because the peer pressure. Things that they want to do, fashion, this, dress, appearance, style, things, they have questions. Who is to answer? And the challenge that they go through when they see their peers, they're doing it. And sometimes if there is no proper guidance, they just fall into it. It's so tempting. So that's why, and a lot of time, as a result of this non-guidance, the balance in life interrupts. And see what happens. Help children learn how to Maintain a fair and reasonable balance in their life. Use time wisely. Did you ever see some children, they use a lot of time on their devices? They're sitting on the computer. I went to this grocery store 2 weeks ago. And I was just talking to him. I told him we have a session. And he started crying. The father, the brother. And I said, why are you crying? Then he told me some sad story from his son. He said, sorry, my son comes very late. So I said, and often he comes like maybe 4:30, 3:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I said, from where? He said he goes to work, like in the afternoon, and he's finishing at 11. Then he comes home for 5 minutes, changes, and then he goes, and he said, I'm with my friends, like some chilling. And he doesn't know where. And he said, so I said, do you, see him at breakfast? He said, I don't know. It has been a while since his mother and I ever saw him. So things are not where we supposed to. If we are protecting our children, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. But there is a lot of others that they are going through challenges. So there is home life and there is life outside home. This is a very, very serious issue, and I just would like to remind you all, sit with your children and offer them alternative. This is the solution. So that they can feel happy at home. And I can tell you with confidence that the reason the children, they don't feel happy at home is because there is nothing to connect. If they are alone, nobody talks to them, for example. Parents are busy and they have to spend time. They want company. And when the company issue slide comes, then we will shed more light. Rasulullah ﷺ said to Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, when I was searching something to connect, this is the most appropriate hadith that I could find. Look what he said. He said, Inna lillahi alayka haqqa. He was young. So Rasulullah ﷺ taught young Abdullah, he said, oh Abdullah, your time is precious. You have to chunk your time. You have to balance your time. So what did he say? Inna lillahi alayka haqqan. You have a right for Allah over you. So that's part one. Wa inna libadanika alayka haqqan. Your body has a right over you. So take care of yourself and take care of Allah's rights. Two, wa inna li ahlika alayka haqqan. And your family has a right over you. So now, no solution can be more effective than the solution suggested by Rasulullah. So this is why I recommend that we as Murabbi, we will tell our older children, Habibi, chunk your time into 3 categories. Do whatever is okay. Do whatever you feel like doing it and you enjoy doing it, but not at the expense of a small portion where you have to fulfill Allah's right. For example, Salah. Pray Salah on time. Do not, do your fun at the expense of Salah, for example. And then take care of yourself. Your body will ache. A lot of them, I know, they told me sometimes I feel so tired that I don't even able to do my homework. And those who are in the university, like I know at least 2 who are currently Rutgers, and last week, 2 weeks ago, I saw them like a little tired. I said, why? He said, well, I'm so busy, and my homework is delayed. So then I told him the same thing. I said, check your time and enjoy some free time with your family. Then what did he say at the end? فَأَعْتِكُ الَّذِي حَقٍّ حَقَّهُ. Then give each category its due rights. So this is a solution. This is not an issue or a challenge. This is rather a solution. So we need to tell our children that how to, and the way they learn is by giving them alternative. There is a masal. Let me tell you something. There is a masal in Arabic. He says, Al-insan harisun fima munya. every time you stop someone from doing something, he wants to do it. He's curious. So why? So the best solution is, if you stop, he said, Habibi, I don't want you to do that. This is not right. Instead, there is an alternative. So do not just stop, give them the alternative. Because they are young. Now this positive connection slide is an information slide, something positive. And I made this slide based on this hadith. Rasulullah said, Khayrun nasi anfa'uhum linnas, the best of the person are those, or the best of the people are those who are the most beneficial to others. Let me put it this way. If my son is a sophomore or a junior at the university, this is what I will have to sit with him and tell him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed you with 1, 2, 3, 4 skills. Why don't you let others get benefited from you? Watch this. Connection from home. Connection with friends. Connection with neighbors. Connection with the community. These are the 4 basic categories that I could list. Imagine my child does not have any connection. He doesn't enjoy being home. Then you know what? The siblings wait for the older people. The younger siblings always wait because they want to have some fun time. They just want to chill with their older siblings. And they are busy. They don't come home. They're coming so late. And nowadays, mashallah, they say, oh, I was studying in the library until 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3 a.m. If you were to ask me what's the solution, I will say immediately going to the library and studying long hours is a very healthy thing, but not at the expense of other rights. Go to that hadith. He said, and you need to explain. We need to explain based on reason. And always there is connection. Why I'm asking you to do that? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants it. Because Rasulullah wants it. Connection has to be there. The second one, education, scientific, sports events. This slide is for older students, college students, university going people, high schoolers. You need to have your connection with your education. You're already mature. You're already smart. I'm not forcing you. So your homework has to be your responsibility. You have to do things right. Social and cultural activities, not at the expense of devices. So if you are so busy outside, you don't have time what is happening in the community. And for example, MCMC, for example, what's happening in MCMC as a educational, as a social. So I strongly recommend that you should have your older children's connection with this institution or any other masajid, any other youth. That's why Dawah youth leadership programs. And he said, well, you are capable to perform as a leader. And the best of the example that we can give for our 19-year-old, 21-year-olds is the example for 2-3 people. For example, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib was youth. And Ali ibn Abi Talib got the distinction of growing up in the household of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he learned language and literature and Quran and tafsir and adab and manners and bravery and courage and decisive thinking. And that's why, I don't know if you know that Ali ibn Abi Talib is one of the 4 qudat. He was the qadi, he was the judge. So a comprehensive knowledge of judgment to make decisions. Ali ibn Abi Talib is one of them. So we can say that Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he was about 13, 14, he discharged 2 risky assignments at the time when Rasulullah took care of the journey of migration. He chose him. He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib, you are the man. You are like a man. So I am going tonight. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to migrate to Medina. From now on I cannot stay. So in the darkness, in the cover of night, I will move and then you take my blanket and sleep in my bed. That's the one risky assignment. And the second one, he told him that his house was full of amanat, the important items belonging to the people of Mecca. He said in the morning, you have to return those amanat to the rightful owners. Example, Ali ibn Abi Talib took the challenge and he did. And we can say that, look, Ali ibn Abi Talib did responsibilities in the absence of modern technology. He didn't have a fancy car. He didn't have a GPS. He didn't have a cell phone. Now we have technology. Always encourage your students to keep you posted when they are outside. Personal friendship. Personal friendship. Habibi, you need to tell me where you are. You need to keep me posted. If you are late night studying, call me, text me, WhatsApp me, whatever. Voluntary services. If there is a voluntary program in the masjid or in the school, youth has to be taking part in it. And I recommend, and I'm going to tell the masjid people, that this responsibility has to be assigned to high school youth, for example. You know, helping those needy people, some other activities where they can come, packing food. This masjid, I went. This masjid organized a nice activity. They prepared about 200 food packages to take it to downtown Newark area. And the reason I was part of it was I designed a label for them. It's a dawa, a peel-off label. So they prepared like sandwiches, and I told them, look, if you are going to pass out food, let it make it a dawa activity. So they posted it, and I said, the second thing is, do not, get the uncles involved in it. Let all the high school youth, they take care of it. And mashallah, it was a fun activity for them. So, now this slide is very, very, very important. Our children are not clear on the concept of al-haya, which is, al-haya, it's something I personally feel English cannot translate. So haya can be translated as shyness. Haya is translated as decency. Haya is translated as with some other words. But haya is part of iman. So I selected some ahadith. Hadith of Abi Hurairah. It says, both narrated by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim, al-haya'u shu'batun min al-iman. Haya is part of iman. Now, haya is something that prevents me and every Muslim from doing something which is bad, inappropriate, maybe shameful, maybe filthy, maybe something nasty. Al-haya la yati illa bi khayr. The second stage. Haya brings nothing but goodness. Let's connect all the statements first. Inna likulli dinin khuluqan. Every religion have character. And the character of Islam is haya. This brother told me, when my dad is at home, he does something. But he said, as soon as my father comes in, I don't do it. I don't want to say it. Something, not haram of course, but something, as a respect. And I was reading about Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu. Abu Hurairah was walking on the street. He saw an old man carrying wood on his head, walking, and a young man. And the young man was walking ahead of him. So Abu Hurairah stopped. He asked the young man, who is that old man to you? He said, Haza Abi, it's my dad. So he said to him, I'm like, man, what are you doing? He said, La tamshi amamahu. Number one, do not walk ahead of him. He's your dad. Adab. He said, Wala tajlis qablahu. If you were to offer seat, Don't sit. Make your father sit first. And he said, why he is carrying the load, you carry the load. And you follow him. So, in my opinion, haya has a connection with adab. So if children understand what haya is, or the concept of what haya is, this is the most strong one. Rasulullah says, what people found out from the previous nubuwwat, something that is common in the shari'ahs of previous prophets. And you talk about sharia of Musa and Isa and Dawood and everybody. Something that was common in all the sharia and the sharia of Rasulullah, this was one thing, and that's why I color coded it. He said, إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِي, when you do not have shame, فَاسْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ, then do whatever you please. Haya. So, watching, for example, movie, watching a DVD or some other program in the cover of night, and also the concept of mujahara. You know, I personally feel our college students have to be explained the concept of al-mujahara. What is al-mujahara? I not long ago, I spoke in Masjid Wali about sins. Sins. Rasulullah says this. He said, Kullu ummati mu'afan. Everyone from my ummah is forgiven. Illa al-mujahirun. Except those who are mujahirun. قالوا, the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, who is mujahirun? So he said this. He said, the one who committed a sin at the cover of darkness, or something sinful. Either he said it, or he did it, or he watched it. And then he slept. فَبَاتَ يَسْتُرُهُ رَبُّهُ. When he was sleeping, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was covering his sin. Nobody knew it. When he wakes up, he shares what he did with others. And you know what is happening now? This is the age of social media. Now we not only share, we post. I watched this movie, for example. It's a sinful thing, but we do not even feel shy to share. And this is mujahara. So I recommend that when we talk about other things, we talk to our children. Indecent environment exposure. Haya is required. Indecencies in akhlaq. Anything which is not proper in akhlaq, either in speech, either manners, either thinking, either gesture, dress and style, fashion, etc., etc. Did you realize that in every action, what is needed? Ilm. Unless and until our youth understand and learn, they cannot distance themselves. Now this is the company, and any questions so far? Okay. Any questions?
You mentioned about dividing time into three chunks. One was for Allah's rights and Salah, and second was about
Inna lillahi alayka haqqan, the rights of Allah, which includes and not limited to Salah and Siyam and worship and Ibadat and all these. Wa inna libadanika alayka haqqan, and the rights of body, which includes well-being, your health, your activities, your sports, your games, etc., etc. And then the rest of the time for the family. So these three.
I have a question.
Sure.
Now, like with so much of peer pressure in the school, I think that is one of the biggest things where kids go, especially like 6th, 7th, 8th. And then like with fashion, style, like what would be the best way to teach them, okay, like this is wrong?
By modeling, by explaining as a true role model, by doing first. This sister told me, my girl is 19 and she doesn't wear a scarf. And when the mommy tells her to wear head cover, you know what she tells her? "Hey, Mama, I can't wear it because it feels itchy." It's a challenge, right? So, and she was crying and worried, and so I said, the mommy was not even wearing the cover. So I said, I know one thing, that if you do that, your daughter will start wearing. And she just wiped out her tears and she said, I am willing to do anything. What is that? You tell me. So I said, there are clothing stores in New Jersey, and the number of abayas and scarves you see in New Jersey, you will not even find it in Boston and Los Angeles. Here, a lot of women. So I said, go with your daughter to a clothing store and buy 3 to 4 abayas for you. And she said, so how about for my daughter? I said, no, for you. And tell your daughter that I'm going to buy a scarf and you have to choose. Let your daughter choose for you. And she said, okay. I said, do it a couple of times. And then try to wear this at home while you drive your car. And then ask, wear a new one. Ask your daughter, how do I look? Do you like the color? Do you like the design? And keep on doing it. After 3-4 weeks, she did it twice. And then the daughter said, can I buy one? And then she started wearing it. So now, and the mother was telling me that, brother, after that she never told me that it's itchy. So it's a constant challenge. So you need to find out a way. And the more we are friendlier, it all depends on what is my relationship with my older daughter. There is a challenge. So, now I collected some ayat about the company. Good company based on righteousness and truthfulness. Surah At-Tawbah. Something so beautiful. It says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, one component is Iman. That's why I color coded. Ittaqullaha, fear Allah, so that's taqwa. Iman and taqwa. And then kunu, be, that's company. And the fourth one is as-sadiqeen. Here in this ayah, we have 4 components. Iman. A company, an environment where you will see people with good Iman, people fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and people who are truthful. So we need, masjid is one of them. Masjid, we cannot underestimate the masjid. You never know the 50, 100 people who come in the masjid. Many of them are so righteous, so pious. We go by the dress, by their physical appearance, and we issue our own fatwas. But that's not the case. That's why he says, لا يسخر قوم من قوم. He said a group of people are not going to mock or to ridicule another group. And what did he say? عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منه. They may be better than you. So I personally feel a person, for example, wearing a t-shirt and a pant, and for that matter, he doesn't even have a beard. He may be fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You never know. And if we just issue, our own assumptions, then if you go to Hajj, for example, there are thousands of people who they look totally different than what we do. They have different attire, different appearance, different dress, different languages, different culture. So for example, if I am not wearing a certain abaya or a certain kurta pajama or shalwar kameez or whatever, so you say, oh, you're not a good Muslim. That's not the issue. So that's why, and what confirms this, that's why he said, at-taqwa hahuna. Taqwa is not my case. Taqwa is right there. And so, second ayah. Al-akhilla, this is the most powerful one. We need to tell youth, when you choose a friend, you have to be careful, because friends in this dunya will be enemies on the akhirah, except one category, and that is those friends who are muttaqin. Al-akhillau, all friends, يومئذ, on that day, بعضهم لبعض, some of them will be enemies to some, إلا المتقين, except those friends who fear Allah. So the choice of friends should be the parental choice. And this is a challenge. Find out families who they have children, good company, send them in. And I recommend, for example, sending children to homes, selected homes. Third ayah, وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ, that day the wrongdoer will bite his hands. And he says this, woe to me, I wish I would have taken away with the Prophet ﷺ. And he feels sorry. He said, I wish I would not have taken this one as my friend. Because some friends, they damage other friends. They don't know this. There is a lot of silent damage with akhlaq, with character. Because habits. If you watch this, وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Ibrahim as Khalil, as his friends. In the second slide, look what Abu Huraira said. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said something so profound. Al-mar'u ala dini khalili. If you want to know who the person is, find out who he lives with, who he hangs around with, who he spends time with. Khalil means friend. So he said everyone follows the path of his friend. Then what should we do? فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِلْ. Then let everyone find out who to be friend with. Because it may be a bad friend, it will harm my child. It will teach him bad habits. It will teach him, make him rebel. Ibn Asakir, there is a scholar. He said, إِيَّاكَ وَقَرِينَ السُّوءِ, beware, stay away from an evil friend. فَإِنَّكَ بِهِ تُعْرَفْ, because ultimately you will be known with him. So it means if my child's friends are bad, and people see them, they will say, okay, your child spends time with this person, and this is not right. So slowly and gradually, we need to. And if we're to ask about the solution thing, this develops and stretches more because sometimes parental company is less and less and less. So if we increase our company, then we can overcome the challenges. And I have some more points to share. There is a poet who says, عَنِ الْمَرْءِ لَا تَسْأَلْ, do not ask about a person, وَصَلْ عَنْ قَرِينِهِ, ask his friend. Ask everyone about his friends. Because a friend will tell about the habits, about things that he does. فَكُلُّ قَرِينٍ بِالْمُقَارِنِ يَقْتَدِي, because every friend follows his teammates, his friends. Now, company requires tools. In this country, there is a lot of tools available that gives company to our children. I listed few of them. Friends is one of them. TV is one of them. Computer is one of them. And internet. There is a lot of company that comes from internet. And sometimes we do not even know what they are watching. Is it bad? Is it good? Is it healthy? What impacts is having on their mindset? Mindset. Safeguarding mindset is very, very important. For example, electronic devices. I learned, and Allah knows best, what I learned that, you know, all these electronic devices, the Japanese games, some of them, their roots goes to their old Japanese, culture, their gods, and their concept of, old. They revived by bringing it into electronics. And I read a research several years ago in the Time magazine or somewhere. It says that normal American children, they don't sleep or they don't go to bed unless and until they have watched more than 70% to 80% after watching Japanese games. Because everything is automatic, everything is digital, everything is electronic. And cartoon games, for example. There are some games which, in my opinion, and may Allah forgive me when I say that, they may come in direct contradict to the very concept of the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me give you an example. There is something called DS Nintendo 4. It's like DS means dual screen. So one screen here and one screen down, and there is a button. So I asked this child, I said, "What are you doing?" They just like pushing the button, and there is like, I don't know, how should I describe it? It's like a war going on. So it's like, I'm hitting this one, and he dies, and he's killing. What the child told me, he said, "Brother Ahmed, these characters, they said their power is limitless. If you push this button, it destroys everything." Now, regardless of what he says, we know the impact. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate source of quwwah, power. Our children, and this is an aqidah issue. So there is no power on earth that can be stronger than the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now it's a question of assumption and denial. We do not know what impact it's developing in their mind, how powerful they think of what they watch on games, and how for every action there is reaction. For every action there is reaction. So their further action is based on the information that they get. Agree, disagree. And we did not do anything to counter that. That's why there is a process of filtering. So if we did not filter, filtering means I sit with my child. Like sometimes I ask Huzaifa, "What did you do today?" And he tells me. Why I do that is because I just want to know what he did. So I tell him, "Oh, mashallah, good." But if he did something, then I said, "Okay, let's exchange." If I do not know, and if I do not question, then I don't know what he's doing. Then it comes layers. And let me tell you something. That's why when something happens like this, and then something happens like this, and then something else more, and there is in between, there is no connection with the father, with the mother. They don't know it. Until it reaches to a point which is the boiling point, in my opinion. And something happens, goes wrong. And for example, a call comes to me from school. "Oh, your son did this. Or your daughter is." And I say, "What? No, my son cannot do that. He can't do that." That's the denial mode. Because I am thinking that my child is older. He knows it. Which is in principle wrong. Because, let me give you another example. I did math. Let me do a quick math on figures. Can you tell me what time normally child goes to school? 8? Okay. From 8, what's the average time that they wake up? We will start our clock from that time. 6 o'clock. 6:30? Let's start from 6. Okay. bath or a shower or wudu, dress up, breakfast, packing. How much time you give? An hour? 1 hour? Fair. Drive from school, from home to school, average 20 minutes to half hour. Okay. How much? 1 hour and 30 minutes. School time, how many hours? 7. Plus 1.5, how much? 8.5. Another half hour when they come back. How many? 9. After they come back, these are the average things that they do. Change, food, eat, homework, and they want to play. Am I right? All these 4 actions, given average time. Normal homework time, how much? 1 hour? It depends. So give an average 1 hour home. How many hours? 10. How much time we give for something to eat, to dress, free time? Another hour? Average? How many hours? How many hours? 11. After that, dinner, getting ready, brushing, salah, go to bed. Give an average time.
1 hour.
Another hour? How many?
12.
How many?
12.
12. Okay, now watch this. 7 hours that are in the school. Is mommy with them? Daddy with them? No. 7. When they are doing homework, most of the time, parents are with them? Especially the older one? No. They do their homework. Give 1 hour. 8. And when they are playing, when they are watching devices, are parents sitting with them? And add another hour. 11. Now do a math. Out of 15 hours, 10 plus hours they are on their own. What is the average percentage of my time with my child on a daily basis? Time it 5 days a week. Then time it 1 month, 4 weeks. Then time it 1 marking period. Then time it 3 marking periods. Then time it over 10 months. The result is horrible. Where is the company? That's why fluctuations take place, because I am not with him when he needs me. So, now we're going to talk about punishment. Before I open, I read this 5-step formula in about 4 or 5 books that I read. And subhanAllah, in each book, sometimes we get angry, we go to number 5. Anything is wrong, break. Now, all these authors, they say, this physical force is the last one. This is number 1. 5 step for giving consequences to children. Okay. Let me give you a couple of points from the company and friendship. These are challenges. I'm going to create some questions only. You know the answers, inshallah. So that there is an issue of mothers and fathers taking courses and classes for their self-development, which is very good. You need to learn. But my point is, that all these mothers and all these fathers who, other than their professional work, either home or their professional work, if they take classes, it must not be done at the expense of my emotional and physical company and time to my child, especially with older children. That's one. Then all these challenges that older children go through. You know, in the parental conferences in the school, you go to every school. You see a lot of crowd of parents. But if you were to look at it, all these people are parents of first grade, second grade, third grade, kindergarten, preschool. When you talk to any teacher teaching sixth grade, she is having 16 kids in the classroom. As how many parents she will have? She will tell you 2. And sometimes she is proud. She said, MashaAllah, none. Wallahi, I'm telling you. We don't go there. You know why we don't go there? Because, again, we assume things are going okay. Assumption. And if I am assuming, I am denying. Especially those who are in high school. And especially those who happen to be girls. I strongly recommend that if the mother and the father decide to take a class, attend a lecture 5 days a week, 4 days a week, 3 days a week, it's well and good, but it must not be done at the because if I am busy learning, for example, and I'm not paying attention to what's happening in my child's life, who is already 17, 18, 19, 20, then there is a lot of happening. And I will be worried at the time when I happen to know that. And then they say, oh, Urdu mein kehte hain, sar se pani guzar gaya. You know, then I will take my child to the Imam. Said, yeah, Imam, please. You know, sometimes we reach to a point where he say, ah, mashallah. You know, ah, mashallah. Sometimes I use, this is my term. So if something good, I will say, mashallah. But if something is not good, then I will say, ah, mashallah. And sometimes we wake up only in a situation where it goes to the area of ah, mashallah. So, the third question. More attention to younger kids, as I told you. We need to increase our attention to older children. The other point that I have, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, I learned this yesterday. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, someone asked him, he said, Ibn Abbas, I would like to have a friend. Can you tell me what kind of friend should I have? Well, he said 3 things. So beautiful. He said, make sure that when you choose a friend, make sure that these 3 things are there. Man zakkarakumullahu ru'yatuh. When you look at him, you remember Allah. وَزَادَ فِي عِلْمِكُمْ مَنْطِقُهُ. When you speak with your friend, you increase your knowledge. A person obeying Allah, full of knowledge, that my son and my daughter gets his share. And the last but not least, وَذَكَّرَكُمْ بِالْآخِرَةِ عَمَلُهُ. And he reminds you, his action and his deed, his behavior reminds you of the akhirah. Now these 5 punishments.
What is the second one?
When you see your friend, you remember Allah, and when you talk to him, you gain your knowledge, and when you see his action, his behavior, he reminds you of the akhirah. Now, step number 1. Parents are encouraged not to beat them up. You know, in the first instance. The first step, if something goes wrong, it's called adamul rida, or showing displeasure and unhappiness. Tell your child that you're not happy with his action and behavior. That's the first thing of consequences. Second, at-taqriyah, which is a verbal reprimand. You can verbalize it. जिसे उर्दू में थोड़ी सी डांट भी है. Review. Remind the child verbally about his behavior and action. Show displeasure. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this Sahabi, I forgot his name, he was doing something, and he looked at him. He didn't just like tawbih, tawbih is like physical. He said, hey, stop doing it. And I'm so angry. He didn't do that. So sometimes you have to show your, anger and frustration in a calm manner. So that's a second level. The third one, it's called al-hirman. Al-hirman, which is the deprivation. It means if you have a privilege, if I want to give you something that you normally get, for example, your allowances, the favor that mom gives, the money that daddy gives, he said, because I'm not happy, cut down. You're not going to get your privilege. Taking the privileges and the favors away. That's another form of. Then it's called al-hajr, which is temporary abandonment. It means stop talking to your child for some time. And the ulama said not more than 3 years. Because, less than 3 days. Not more than 3 days in any way. Because he said, لا يهجر أخاه المسلم فوق 3 ليال. That each one of you should not stop talking to your brother for more than 3 days. وَأَوْلَاهُمَا, and the best among you is the one who says Salaam alaikum first. So you need to, the question is, the punishment has to be linked with what? With deed. So he said, this punishment that I'm going to give you because you are displeasing Allah and you are displeasing me as a father. That's why parental disobedience is what? Is a major sin. Any uquq, where Rasulullah ﷺ said, he said, what are the major sins? It comes in number 2. He said, al-ishraku billahi, associating partners with Allah, major sin. Wa uququl walidain, and disobedience to the parent, major sin. So we need to tell our children that I am doing this action because you did 2 bad things. You displeased Allah in the first place, and you disobeyed me as a parent. You are almost committing sin, a sinful act. And every time sinful action comes in, what follows? Huh? Every time someone commits a sin, what follows? Tawbah. And the slide is coming that we need to teach our children what tawbah is. Is tawbah something like a new game? Because mashallah, my children, I call them computer kids. Our children are born and raised in this country. They are technology kids. So I say, go with them. If they want to go through technology, I'm going to bring my deen through technology. Is there something wrong with it? No. Quran with technology. Hadith with technology. Habibi, you don't have time to open the real Mus'haf? Quran right here. Hadith is right here. Your headphones. Listen something. That's my point is insert, I call it. I said, Habibi, if you don't want to go the traditional way, insert technology in changing your behavior so that your disobedience goes away. Because if you are not listening to me, if I'm not happy with you as a father, if you are misbehaving to your mom, you are displeasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That requires tawbah. Third, the fifth one, which is a physical consequence. Physical consequence, which is like darb, for example. I just want to beat my child up. And the ulama, oh, by the way, I want to tell you the conditions. They said if these are step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anything happens, don't begin with this. Follow the steps. And if you were forced to, then let me tell you the list of 1 through 7. This is what the ulama of Tarbiyah wrote. He said, number 1, physical discipline must be the last resort. We're not all allowed. It means like everything, something goes wrong, mashallah, I do mashallah. No, this is not right. 2, must not use force while a parent in the state of anger. Look what Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu told Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. He appointed Abu Musa al-Ash'ari as a qadi, as a judge. And then he wrote him instructions. He said, "Oh Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, now you are a judge and you will be deciding people's cases. Never ever you make a judgment when you are angry. Because when I am angry, who's controlling my head? I end up committing excesses. If I am beating my child and I am angry too, then this is a serious matter. 3rd, should not be hard, face, head, chest, and belly must be avoided. It's absolutely not right. It's not allowed to use force on these. Islam protects sensitivity of the body. Some scholars, they say, do not use physical force before the age of 10. Why do you say that? If your child is less than 10, try to have other means of discipline. They quoted the same hadith which is used for salah, which I call it salah intensive by Rasulullah. What it says? He says, Muru awladakum, ask your children to pray when? When they are 7. Do not beat them when they are 7. Do not beat them up when they are 8. When they are 9. When they finish the 9th year to complete 10, Rasulullah ﷺ used the word وَضْرِبُوهُمْ, and discipline them physically. When they are 10, وَفَرِّقُوا بَيْنَهُمْ بِالْمَضَاجِعِ, and separate the beds. So it means gender segregation. Boys are separate, girls are separate. So that's why some Tarbiyah scholars, they say, if your child is not 10, don't use physical force to discipline a behavior to bring improvement. Any questions? Number 5. Not to use the force the first time a child commits a mistake. We can use, taqriyah. We can use non-pleasure, I'm not happy. We can take, the favors away. We can stop talking for some time. We can do something else. We can let the imam speak. We can let some other person speak to the boy. Sometimes, I don't know if I should say that, but sometimes it is extremely helpful with older children. Let someone who is not a father, who is not a mother, speak to the older people. Nowadays, in this country, they say mentor, counselor, someone else. Because sometimes, I think you will agree with me when I say this. I'm making a statement. Sometimes my older son feels shy to share with me some of his personal thoughts. He may be better to share it with someone else. Agree, disagree? Imam is one of them. A person from the community who is, well versed. He knows. I talk to so many kids, and I know what they go through. And some of what I learned, like I told you last time, I don't know if I told you, I know a 20-year-old who told me he was so upset one day. Why he was so upset? Because the custodian of that masjid failed to put paper towels and tissues in the bathroom. And I said, why are you so angry? He said, brother, there was no towel. So I said, there is like lota and there is fine bag. SubhanAllah, what he told me? I know you're not going to believe this. This is what he told me. He said to me, Brother Ahmed, the only 2 times that I use water, I end up wetting my pants. I don't know how to use water. Now imagine a person, 19 years old, using paper towels to seek what? Tahara. After not number 1, number 2. And whatever word he used, I feel shy to tell you. That he said, I have to go home because I feel like sticky or something. It's gross. Now he is not getting the tahara. And now with this washing or wiping with towel, he made a wudu. And he joined the imam. And mashallah, he prayed 4 rak'ah zuhr. Now if you were to look at the order, ibadah is not complete unless tahara comes. And tahara is not complete until najasa is removed. Now the poor fellow doesn't even know what najasa is and how to effectively move tahara, najasa, by being tahir. Is ibadah acceptable? Can you imagine he has been doing it for like 4 years? Who is responsible? Things look fancy from outside. Sometimes they're so bad from inside. That's why they say, and mashallah, we show our anger, we show our frustration, and then mashallah, I said, mashallah, sometimes we have to sit and go through the stages of all this, so that when the physical consequences comes in, we need to. And they also said that other than the murabbi is not allowed to use force. It's only mother and father in the extreme circumstances, when we had all options are done, and that's where. And he said, you have to be slower, you have to have rifq, you have to have kind approach, you have to use, if you are hitting with something, that, what kind of it is. If it is hurting, it's not allowed in Islam. So, all right, any questions? Now these slides are nothing but solutions. So you can take notes. Sometimes, that's why I named this slide something like a strange. It says educate, guide, explain, train. Meaning, when we are going to educate, when they don't know it. It means, when they don't know it, what they are suffering from? Jahl. Ignorance. So we need to bring what? Ilm. Sometimes they have ilm, but they need guidance. Sometimes they have guidance. I gave them guidance. I gave them ilm. But what they need? They need more explanation. They need more clarity. So we need to explain them more, give more examples. And sometimes training is required. So I listed specific areas that in my opinion it is very, very necessary. I'll reflect on some. Number 1, the most important thing, najasa Tahara, Ibadah, Wudu, and Salah. And I guarantee you, I'm telling you, do not go on assumption. Check. Even with your older daughter, with your older kids, those who are in the university, in Rutgers, you know those bathrooms? You should know bathrooms. And you know, in the last general body meeting, when they were talking about the building, I raised my hand. I asked Brother Waqar, mashallah, in the new building, I'm hoping that we will have nice bathrooms. These bathrooms are a mashallah. Place also plays a role. Quran, Tilawa, understanding, Quranic sciences. We need to give time for them to understand that. The more we tell them about Quran is, they don't have time to do that. Halal and haram. You know, by the way, when my children and your children go to public schools, they have only one option to buy food from, and that is cafeteria. Is it 100% guaranteed that they have everything available which is halal? Some they say, in this masjid, I went and I saw some, like, mashallah, this announcement. It was a wedding ceremony. And this brother comes on the microphone and he makes an announcement. He said, this is the announcement for everybody. This food is 100% halal and zabiha and hand slaughter. I didn't understand. And even if you don't announce, it's a default issue. I'm a Muslim. I'm inviting 200 guests. Am I going to feeding them haram? Of course not. And I'm responsible to feed because I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So sometimes, I don't know, some announcements they are being made, which is, I don't know what's the wisdom. But for our younger children, they need to understand what actually, you know, in Quran, if you find the halal haram issue, all the time you will find two qualities altogether. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ. Number one is halal, and what's number two? Tayyib. Halal in slaughtered animals, and tayyib in the other area. For example, anything, cakes, things that we use, ingredients. Some of the ingredients I recommend. We used to discuss these ingredients so much. I personally think that our older children should be aware of the ingredients. The same way as mommy when she goes grocery and she looks, my older children should know that too. So that when he is alone and he buys the food from the vendor, from the cafeteria, he is already able to make appropriate decisions. Pride in Islamic identity. A lot of kids, they don't feel pride. Some of them, they said, I don't want to grow beard, for example. A lot of them I hear, I said, do you wear topi? He said, I don't know. People stare at me. It's a question of pride. So he said, okay, Habibi, wear your topi, who cares? And I told this boy, who I saw him for 4 weeks, coming to school, if I'm not mistaken, he used to come home from his bed. MashaAllah, his hair is MashaAllah, his face is... You can recognize when you don't wash your face and the child wakes up. Moms know how his face looks. So one day I told him, I cannot tell his mom, send him to school, like give him a bath. I didn't say that because she might be offended. So one day I was thinking how to deal with that. So finally, one day I caught this boy and I told him this. I said, Habibi, you are handsome. He said, me? I'm handsome? I said, you are. You are beautiful. He said, how? I never heard of that. Nobody ever told him beautiful. So I said, okay, what to answer? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the answer in my head. I told him, look, me and you, who created me? Allah. He said, do you believe? I said, man, give me a break. Do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will create ugly? He said, no. He said, then you are beautiful. He had a lot of questions on his face. I said, well, this is what we are going to do. And I'm your friend. When you go home today, tell your mommy, arrange a shampoo, a comb, a toothpaste, a toothbrush in the bathroom. And ask your mommy, the principal said, give me 5 pairs of socks on Monday. Put them separate. This is for Monday, this is for Tuesday, this is for Wednesday, this is for Thursday, this is for Friday. And then I told him, look, did you ever watch a soccer match? He said, I did, but what it has to do with the soccer match? I said, man, do you see those soccer players when they run and chase soccer? Their hairs fly. He said, yeah. I told him, you know why? Because they shampoo hair. They wash it so neat. That's why they fly. He said, okay. So we did conversation. The boy goes home. He tells his mother, and I was so fearful. I said, no, I don't. My mom's going to call me. And she did call me at around 7. You know what she told me? He said, Brother Ahmed, what you told my son, can you tell him one more time? I said, I will. I will. And then things started moving. One day he entered, I told him, Habibi, mashallah, mashallah, you are beautiful. Can we go to the second level? He said, is there a second level? I said, I want you, when you enter, teachers look at you and tell you, Mr. Gorgeous is coming. Because gorgeous is the second level. So sometimes we have to go out of the way. That's my point. Sometimes normally things are not working. So sometimes we have to go out of the ordinary, out of the way to explain. Decision making, ability, making right choices. This is an important one. We need to give our students, our children, ability to make right decisions. What we need to do, we can correct their decision. We tell them that your decision is right. Quality of al-istiqamah, consistency in habits. That's another one. Sins and evil habits. This is where we need to understand. Sins. What is a sin? What action can be a sin? And children, they happen to do sinful things. Maybe watching something bad, listening to something. They have to have a feeling that this is a sinful action. And I committed a sin. Because after sin, a tawbah. Right after the sinful action. Do you agree with me when I say, my high school students, do they know what a tawbah is? Tell me. Do they know what the conditions of the tawbah? Make a comment. Say yes or no.
No.
It means we did not tell them. Right? If we would tell them that if you happen to do this, this is a sin, and when you happen to do this unknowingly, this is how you wash. For example, Al-Hasana versus Sayyiyah. I have to tell my child what is Al-Hasana, the good deeds, and what is Sayyiyah. Can I tell you something? There is an ayah in Surah Hud. I told children, Al-Hasana is like an eraser. You know when you write things on the board, The eraser does what? It erases. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He says? إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. All hasanat, they erase bad deeds. So we need to teach them the concept of hasanat as-sayyi. And then al-fahisha. This is more serious. Fahisha is a shameful sin. You know what the people of Lut used to do that? Or indecencies in any form? You know? So al-fahisha, what is the consequence of committing al-fahisha? I recommend that my high school students, girls, boys, both, and your college going kids have to be clear on the concept of al-fahisha. I recommend read ayat from al-fahisha from the Quran, and whenever al-fahisha is mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say do not do al-fahisha. He didn't say that. He didn't say if you committing al-fahisha is bad. He didn't say that. The word that he used whenever he talks about al-fahisha, he said لا تقربوا الفواحش. Do not even go near al-fawahish. So our students have no clue of what fahisha is. So that's why I listed this one too. Gender mixing, relationship issues. If you are older, you have to be kind of in your bubble. And I'm not saying, when I'm saying this, I'm not saying that my older boys stop talking to the girls. I'm not saying that. They can't. They have to. They have to, because there is a co-education, for example. They are mixed together. They are sitting in the same room. They are studying in same classrooms. But still, there is this boundary. And the boundary concept comes from which ayah? In so many ayat, you must have already know. He says, do not transgress or cross the boundaries of Allah. Tajawuz hudud Allah. So he said, set your own boundary, brother. You can talk to a sister. Of course you can talk. But there has to be, set your limits. And that covers the relationship issues. Drugs and alcohol. This is another area that we need to. Sometimes we need to have professional help. It's required, depending on the case. General education is required. TV, movies, theater, cinema. What they need to know, what cinema offers, what TV does to my life. How about going to, all these parties that are being organized in high schools for a combined visit to a movie theater? Is it good? I don't want to say anything. So we need to make a decision and talk to our children accordingly. Internet, social media, excessive internet usage. That's another area that we need to be monitoring, or at least we have to be fully aware of those. Dress, appearance, fashion. That's another area that we need to tell. I was talking to my daughter yesterday morning, and I told her that outside people, they watch two things only. I don't know if you agree with me. Perception, right? Perception is something, what people think of me. I personally feel everybody, they focus on two things. Can you guess? When they meet with me, I meet with them. I watch two things, and he watches two things only. Because what is inside me, he has no clue. Do you agree? What I do in private, he knows it? No. So, zahir. Everything goes by what you see. I thought about that. I come to the conclusion that it is two. One is the appearance. My appearance. Including and not limited to attire that I use. Libas. What's my attire? My appearance. That's number one. Two.
Friends.
It's my personal. And number two in my list, you may have your own list. You're free. But in my list, the second one is demeanor. Conduct. Do you agree with this? Every single person praises me after meeting with me if my attire and my demeanor are nicer. Agree, disagree? So if I train my older girl to wear abaya and to have the scarf and look nice and decent, and you say hijab is not a fashion, hijab is ibadah. Change that connection. She will wear hijab because this is ibadah. This is not fashion. And then when she wears hijab as a ibadah, she will feel what? Proud. That will bring pride. So many young girls, when you go to conventions, there is a lot of hijabs in New Jersey. Lot of abayas. Can you believe, like in this convention, 20,000 people come, and I have been going to this ICNA convention for like maybe 6-7 years. Hijabs are increasing. Young girls. So there's a lot. What do they need now? What do they need if they are wearing? What do you think what they need? More motivation, more strength, more praise. MashaAllah, you're looking so nice. Because he said, all the other women that are coming, are they watching you? Yes. When I am talking, are they watching me? Yeah. You watch me, I watch you. And subhanallah, naturally speaking, any person who meets one person, when they go home, do you agree with me that each person shares the news or the observation to at least 3 to 5 people in his contact? This happens in masajid too. Every person who comes in the masjid, I personally feel that he or she has expectation that when I go to this masjid or to this school, someone will welcome me. Do you agree with me? Agree, disagree? And if this doesn't happen, he goes outside. You know what? Can I tell you my experience going to this masjid? I went there. There was nobody to see me. I had trouble finding people. Nobody said salam alaikum to me. Nobody even asked me, who are you? Why you came? Reception. So that's why. Again, this slide will continue. Lack of confidence, shyness. Some people are shy. Some people are so shy, some students, although they are in older grades, but they are so shy they couldn't express themselves. Mommy has to be there. The daddy has to sit. And you tell them, like, you know Gorgeous' story? You say, you are already beautiful. Just be stronger. And people will respect you if you honor what? Rights of Allah. So if you wear kufi, for example, and if you wear a thobe, Islamic attire, if someone says you are looking weird, or for that matter you are looking ugly, who cares? I am worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Connection. Fear and anxiety is one of them. Some people, we need to remove fear. And fear is removed by personal time. Personal contact. Mothers have to sit and ask their girls what is going on in their lives. If there is something that they are fearful of, if there is some anxiety that they are going through, and of course, sometimes it becomes a medical issue as well. We cannot rule this out. Bullying is one of them. We need to educate our children what bullying is and how you face bullying, and if someone bullies you, what is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Some children, they don't know it. And there is a lot of material available. You go to all these websites, Department of Homeland Security website. There is other state website. You can just type Google bullying. I couldn't find time to print. Habit of goal setting in a day-to-day life. That's another one. And lessons from Surah An-Nur and Surah Luqman. I purposely listed those because there is a lot of practical lesson that comes out from Surah An-Nur. And one of it, can you tell me, if you agree, do we ever discuss with our children the rules of seeking permission? What do you think? Rules of seeking permission to enter a house. Do we talk about that? While there is a clear command, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, oh you believe, la tadkhulu buyutan, do not enter houses other than yours. Taskunu, or tusallimu ala ahliha. You have to take permission, say salamu alaykum. And in one hadith that I found, he said, Ya Rasulullah, do I still have to knock the door even if I am sure that this is my mother inside? Do I still have to knock the door? And he said, you still have to knock the door. And then he said, do you want your mother, you want to see your mother in a situation that you don't want to? Knock the door. And I found another example where Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu knocked the door. And when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Man? Who? He said, it's me. So he said, no. Say, it's Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Identify yourself, who is this? We need to tell our youth that when you have to know seeking permission. Stories of Quran. Now, I'm gonna take some time. Okay? Negative behaviors. MashaAllah, we are nice people, but sometimes some actions are negative actions. We need to be a little bit careful. Number one, insult to child's dignity and honor, individuality. No matter what we do, we should not and must not insult any child because his dignity is guaranteed by Allah. You know the ayah from Surah Al-Isra? وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. We have honored. So an honor of a child is guaranteed. Unfair treatment is forbidden. Giving one child more, less to the other child. Sometimes we do. Negative comparison between kids. You say, oh, you know, he always listen to me. You are like an evil. You don't listen. You always bother me. You always drive me crazy. Look at this. This, mashallah. And you are a mashallah. Am I right? So, and in Shu'aib's story, you know, in Shu'aib's story, subhanAllah, I was just reading like 3 days ago, and I'm preparing a khutbah on corruption. I mean, this entire Shu'aib's story talks about corruption. Because they used to cheat in measure. This is corruption. So you see, you have to be aware of what this equality is. Negative, correct, reprimand a child in front of other children. This happens a lot. Do you agree? Do you agree? Or we don't do that? What do you think? Sometimes we rebuke another child in front of another child. Does this happen? No, that's it, yeah. You know, if we punish a child in front of my only other child, he feels it. This concept of, you know, the sixth juz begins with what? لا يحب الله, right? لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like evil to be made public. So if there is something inappropriate, then why are you telling in front of someone else? Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, he was walking in the streets of Damascus. He saw 10 people beating this only lonely man. And he told him, he said, why are you beating this miskin? What did he do? They told him, Ya Abu Darda, you don't know this man? This man is a sinner. He sinned. رَجُلٌ وَقَعَ فِي ذَنْبٍ كَبِيرٍ. This man committed a big sin, and we are using force to discipline him so that he gives up sins. He said, stop, why are you beating? This is not the right way. He said, أَرَأَيْتُمْ لَوْ وَقَعَ فِي بِئْرٍ. He said, how about you tell me if the same man would have fallen into the well? What would you be doing? أَوَلَمْ تَكُونُوا تَسْتَخْرِجُونَهُ مِنْهُ. Aren't you doing efforts to take him out of the well and save his life? He said, yes. Yes, Ya Abu Darda, you're right. He said, think that by committing a sin, he has fallen into the well. You have to save his life. Then he said this, La, he said, do not yell at him, do not beat him. Verbal abuse, physical abuse, not allowed. And then he said, you praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he saved you from committing this sin that he committed. So the people, they said, Ya Abu Darda, you don't like him, you don't hate him, this man. This man is committed a sin. So Abu Darda said, if someone commits a sin, target the action, don't target him. Don't target the person. Don't insult him. Tell him your action, and if he repents, فَهُوَ أَخِي, then he is my brother. So that's another method. Showing extreme anger and frustration by a mother or a father if anything happens. This is absolutely a negative behavior and must be allowed. Because the mommy, if he shows extreme anger, then you remember the bulby story that I told you. If any child misbehaves, doesn't listen, does crazy things, it means bulb fell and broke into tiny, tiny pieces. At the end, someone is needed to pick those pieces and put them together. And if the mommy is screaming too, then both are falling apart. Who's going to cry? Agree, disagree? Okay. Negative behavior continue, expressing disliking in a loud voice. But sometimes we express that I don't like it. You know what you did? In a loud voice. This is a negative behavior. Yelling and screaming is forbidden. It's a negative behavior. Losing temper each time something goes wrong. Like if I lose my temper each time something goes wrong, you know what does that mean? I don't have control over myself. Agree, disagree? What's his fault? He's screaming. I have to fix his behavior. If I scream, then who's gonna correct? Excessive talk. Some parents, they talk, while punishing or giving consequences to their children. They don't stop talking. That's a completely negative behavior because it creates confusion. Excessive remarks, comments about children. We should avoid making comments and remarks because sometimes it hurts the dignity and individuality of the child. Sharing the child's negatives, weaknesses with others. Sometimes we share with our friends. Oh, my child is mashallah. He always, I do this. He is a mashallah. It's okay. Children are children. They have to do mistakes. You know, I was reading the Charter of the United Nations for Child long ago. Someone told me that. He said, Brother Ahmed, you have to read Charter of the United Nations for Children. It has only bullets after bullets. You know the end one? What it says? A child has a right to be a child. You know what does that mean? It means, he can do anything. So, parental argument fights. If parents fight with each other, if they argue with each other in front of children and children are aware that things aren't going fine between father and my mother, that's a negative behavior. Saying yes, honey, to every demand. You think it's a negative behavior? How?
Spoiling the child.
It's spoiling the child. Alright? Now, positive behaviors. You know, mothers and fathers, they do certain actions which occur automatically. And the mommy, You know, I told this child, mommy has 2 eyes in the back. Do mommies believe that? The fathers and the moms have 2 eyes in the back. Do you agree? Or not fathers, they're saying not fathers. Do you think mothers have it? I personally feel only 2 types of people have 2 eyes in the back.
Hello? Hello?
One is a father,
Anybody? Hello? Hello?
one is a mother. Who is the second one?
They are the right.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. You know who is the second person? A teacher. I said this. I said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves me. He gave me 2 eyes here, 2 eyes in the back, but He loves me and He gave me 1 scanner here and 1 scanner here. This child told me, he said, brother, how do I know that my mom has 2 eyes in the back? I said, you want to test? Okay, I can tell you. When you go home, this is what you do. What is the thing that you do at the end of the night before you go to sleep? He said, my mom says, drink something. So sometimes I drink juice, and most of the time I drink milk with some cookies. I said, this is what you do. It's very easy. When you drink milk, where do you keep the cup? He said, in the sink. I said, no. When you drink, leave your cup either at the coffee table inside the living room or at the table where you have TV. He told me, I have a giant TV. I said, okay, do. Just put it. He said, that my mommy knows about that. I said, you're just telling me how to test your mommy. Next day when he came, he said, Brother Ahmed, yeah, you're right. She has 2 eyes. Because when I was drinking the milk and I was putting the coffee mug at the TV table, she was not there. And the sooner I turned around, he called me, he said, put the jar in the sink. I said, she has 2 eyes. And I said, do you think that your mom knows that when you are lying? She said, yeah, I will always. Whenever she asks me a question and I say an answer, she tells me, no, you're lying. How does she know that? I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes her 2 eyes, sensors. So that was funny. So create happy home, happy environment. That's a positive behavior. Demonstrate love and kind treatment. We talked about it a lot because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, rifq is the kindness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants on kindness what He does not grant with aggressive behavior. Give quality time, provide parental company. This is a positive behavior. Many moms, they do that. Build relationship based on love and understanding. We talked about it. This is a positive behavior. Take personal interest, give attention, listen carefully of what they are saying, because if we do not listen, are they going to tell me again? Say yes or no. So that's a positive behavior. Praise, appreciate, acknowledge, recognize efforts, and reward them for anything which is maybe this little. Do you agree? Can I tell you something? Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, radiallahu anhu, he had a beautiful voice. And he reads Quran in a very melodious voice. So he was one day reading Quran in the masjid, and they don't have the carpet like MCMC. Rasulullah's masjid doesn't have a carpet like MCMC. Neither does it have lights. So he passed by and he heard his recitation. In the next day, when Abu Musa al-Ash'ari came to the Musalla area, Rasulullah smiled at him and told him this. I'm giving you a sample of how to appreciate. He said, "Oh Abu Musa, أرأيتني وأنا أستمع إلى قراءتك البارحة." I wish you would have known that I was listening to your recitation. Your voice is so beautiful, it looks to me like you have been given part of the melodious voice of Dawood. So my point is, because we are so stingy in what? In praise. The more praise, it refines the behavior, it motivates the child to give up evil behavior. Praise only. And it won't cost anything. Take trust building measures. Trust building measures is different from mom to mom to mom. Am I right? I don't know what trust building measure you take depending on your home environment, your situation. The same way trust building measures and confidence building measures. These are different. It may include and not limited to personal time. It may take it to a reward, a fun-filled trip, going to a zoo, going to the picnic, buy him a gift, give him something, anything could be. Positive behaviors continue. Set expectation, explain, orient, give instruction. Provide guidance, modeling, or counseling where necessary. Set boundaries, consequences. This is also because if schools and home works like train. It's strange, right? All schools work like train. All teachers are, all students are. A train has what? All students are passengers. So who are all teachers? Conductors or guards? Who is the administration? The school administration. Engine. Driver. And the train runs on tracks. Can you guess what tracks are? Your mom's. Mashallah, your daddy.
Principles.
Huh?
The principles.
No, I'm asking you what is meant by
Rules.
tracks.
Rules or
What do you think? Okay.
Guidance straight path.
Huh?
Guidance straight path.
Okay. Any guess? Can I give you a hint? Train cannot run in a school. A school cannot function without tracks. It will be chaotic. Home cannot run without tracks.
Policies.
You're very close. You're very, very close. But let me have some more guesses. Huh? Routines, yeah. Rules, policies, routines, system. These are tracks. And I joke sometime, this is my quick joke. All schools run on 2 letter C's. A word that begins with the letter C. Can you help me find it?
Coffee.
And the hint is that if you take those letter C's out of the school, there is a comprehensive mess. There is chaos. There is disorder.
What's the question?
Code of conduct.
coordination.
Coordination.
You know, I went to this New York school. I said this. You know, all these teachers, they were scratching their head and they gave me like 20 vocab words beginning with a C. Everyone is like continuation, concentration, cooperation.
Counseling.
Can I give you a hint?
Counseling one. Counseling with the kids.
Can I give you a hint? These two are very, very simple. Everybody needs it. Every single person, we need them badly in this country every single day.
Concentration.
We cannot function without these two. It's almost like 40% answer.
Communication.
And if I give you the second hint, it's a 50% answer. These two things are always on the wall.
Code of conduct.
Can I tell you?
Cooperation.
One is a clock. Can you tell me a school can run without a clock? Then we don't know what's going on, what time we will do what. Masjid cannot run without a clock. This lecture, Salah. Salah requires clock, right? What's the second thing?
Calendar.
Calendar. So at home, also we need 2 letter C's. That was fun. So, do you agree with that? Do you agree? Yeah. Alhamdulillah. All right. Give freedom to express their mind. Do not interrupt. Because they may end up telling you something that you need to correct. If you stop them, can we correct? Okay. Give concessions, initiate intervention. Can you give me an example? Sometimes we have to give concession. Who can give me an example? Huh.
Giving gifts.
For example, yeah.
Gifts. Giving gifts.
No. What I'm trying to say is, when I ask my child to do something and he is not able to perform that, I'm gonna release
just
and
ignore it.
ease and give some concessions. For example, if I say, well, you have to read 5 pages. Well, he said, I have other homework too. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told Muaz ibn Jabal, and there is another Sahabi when they were going to Yemen. You know what they told him? Bashira wala tunaffira, yassira wala tu'assira. Make it easy, don't make it hard. Give good news, do not be proud. So he said, okay, Habibi, if not 5 pages, make 3 pages. Give concession. So long it's not breaking any rules. Give them leadership role, assign tasks, give liberty to make independent decisions, exactly as Rasulullah ﷺ gave liberty to Ali ibn Abi Talib to make decisions. Abu Bakr gave liberty for Abdullah to make decisions. You know what he did? Information technology. Abu Bakr told his son, our departure from the cave en route to Medina depends on what? When you give me a feedback that things are peaceful in Mecca, chase dies down. The young man of 13-year-old teen, Abdullah, he used to go to the cave every single day, giving updates to his father and Rasulullah about the situation in Mecca. One day he realized that he was leaving footprints, and he said, oh my gosh, this is a safety concern. Anyone can chase those footprints and find that Rasulullah and my father are in cave. So he took a decision. He went to his friend. He said, friend, you have to help me. Do you have sheep? He said, I do. He said, can you do me a favor? My dad and his friend are staying in the cave, and I just don't want anybody to know that. So when I walk, can you bring your herd of sheep and let them walk over? What happened? The traces of the footprints are gone. This is called judgment, decision making. Using your positive behaviors. Continue the last slides. Make decisions, but be firm, but offer advices and needed help wherever it's necessary. Set targets, benchmark, and give timeline. Tell them, Habibi, this task is needed in 1 week. If you want more time, 2 more days. But this has to be done. So the decision is firm, and I will give you more extension to do that. Do adjustments if needed. What do I mean? Do adjustments. You know what I mean? Adjustments. Adjust according to my situation. For example, I asked him to come back home at 5:30. My son calls me, I am not able to come. I have something happening. I have homework to finish. I make some adjustments. So long he is kind to me, I quickly. It's the same thing as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Hashr. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ تَفَسَّحُوا فِي الْمَجَالِسِ فَاسَّحُوا. When they request you, give room in the gathering, open, give room. Make adjustments. Squeeze yourself, do adjustments, and accommodate others. So at our home, too, we make adjustments when needed. Engage in consultation, value their opinion. This is something so important, and every time you do this, what's the example? What's the model of this? Yeah, what's the model? Sayyidina Ibrahim. Sayyidina Ibrahim, when he wanted to slaughter who? Ismail. You know what he did? He did not just grab him and put the knife on his neck. He said, "Yeah, bunayya inni ara fil manami." Oh my son, I saw in a dream that I'm cutting your neck. Fanzur maza tara. What do you think? What do you feel? Tell me. Is it hard? No, because he was Halim, the father, so the son was Halim too. So, in Ibrahim ala Halim, فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ Halim. So the father and the boy were Halim. Forget and forgive their mistakes and shortcomings. Sometimes we ignore. I'm almost done. I know you're tired. Always make dua for your child. And have courage and say no sometimes. Do you agree with this?
Yes.
Why? 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 Why we have to say no sometimes?
Unreasonable requests.
For the training. Yeah.
Unreasonable requests.
Yeah, unreasonable request. Yeah. Okay. Now examples and stories. I think this is my last slide. Are you tired? Are you tired?
Not tired.
Am I bothering you? No, just tell me.
It's getting
Okay.
late for other assignments.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Thank you.
I motivate you, each one of you. Whenever you talk to your children, always establish what? Connection. Connection with an ayah of the Quran. Connection with the story of Prophet. Connection with the Sahaba. Connection with the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then, you know what happens when I do connection? Then it goes off my shoulder. Habibi. Ibrahim alayhi salam is saying that. Don't you love Ibrahim? You know, when I was teaching elementary grades, teaching elementary first grade, second grade, is hard. Because every 2 minutes, each child moves. Because one day, I was so scared, because I keep on counting, there were like 29 in that classroom. But one day I counted, there were 28. I was like searching, where is 29th one? So I was so worried. I looked, and every child said, "Oh, I don't see him." So I went to the door, I told the teacher, one child is missing. And they were like, search going on. Okay? It lasted 10 minutes. And everybody's telling me, I didn't see him. And it's like freaking me out. I said, where? Until I went to where my desk was, and I just wanted to sit or take something. Suddenly something touched my leg. And he was down there, laying down and reading a comic book. It scared me. So, my point is that if we have the habit of connecting them with the stories, wallahi, I'm telling you, things are going to change. My first one is Sayyidina Ibrahim. Tell your older kids stories of Ibrahim when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described him as Fatah. You know what Fatah is? Youth. Tell them, look, if you are youth, you have to be so brave, so courageous. Ibrahim, when he was youth, you know what did he do? He used his courage and he went and he smashed all idols. It means, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because Ibrahim was youth, he did it. So you can too. And the story of Ismail. Then Prophet Ismail, both. The next one is Prophet Isa. I do not have time. However, I recommend you to read the story of Maryam in Surah Maryam. From وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ مَرْيَمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ صَدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا, all the way down to the end of the second page. This story will tell you lessons that you will really enjoy, and this lesson I recommend because it talks about haya and morality. Do you remember when Maryam brought the baby out to the community, they accused her. They said, Maryam, you were a chaste woman. Your father was righteous. They accused her father, they accused her mother. And he said, you have to have shame. Guess what you're doing? You've never been married and you are bringing a child. It's a morality issue here. So for older girls, they have to, the mommy has to sit with a high school girl and tell her, look what she did. We don't have time to go into detail. Luqman and his son, that's another pattern story, highly, highly recommended for all age groups, especially the younger ones. And Luqman as a daddy, he did something so amazing which normally no father and mother does that. Did you ever hear someone, we teach so much, but did we teach how to walk? Like walking manners. Did you ever hear that? Luqman told his son, Ya bunayya, iqsid fi mashyika. Be humble and moderate in your walk. He taught him the walking manners. Waghdud min sawtik, and lower your voice when you talk. He talked to him about Ali ibn Abi Talib, the perfect example for youth. Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr, another youth. Asma bint Abi Bakr, another youth. And last but not least, Zayd bin Thabit. And I want to tell you this. This younger boy, he was genius. And Rasulullah hunted his talent. And he realized that this young boy is capable of learning a foreign language. So he asked him, he said, I receive letters from foreign governments, from emperors. And some letters are in Hebrew language. And I don't understand. Can you learn this Hebrew language? And this boy performed miracles. It's not months, it's not years, it's a matter of weeks that the boy not only learned the language, but he mastered it. And then later, this boy, Zayd bin Thabit, he was appointed as translator, interpreter of Rasulullah, and Katibul Wahyi li Rasulillah. He was the writer of Revelation. Is there any questions? Any questions? If there is no questions, then in the next slide, these are some references that I use. And I just would like to say Jazakallah khairan for your attendance and participation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you become the best of Murabbi for your children, reward you immensely in both worlds, and make this presentation a true source of tarbiyah for our children. I just would like to tell you to make lots of dua for me. That's the only thing I need from you. And forgive my mistakes. There must be shortcomings from the way I present it, because humans make mistakes. So for all the mistakes, I developed this muhasaba chart. Can you have a child here? If you can just pass this out, give some here, some here. Just give me 5 more minutes and we're done. This is a muhasaba chart that I developed. I have used it in different elementary classes. If you just give me 2 minutes to explain. I made this on the quote from Umar ibn Khattab. He says, "Hasibu qabla an tuhasabu." Evaluate yourself before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accounts you on the day of judgment. So I made everyday routine, 5 daily prayers. It has to be done with the parents. You have to make sure that your child sits with you and work. Either 5 prayers, 4 prayers, 3 prayers, 2 prayers, 1 or 0 prayers. Then what's my share today for the Quran? Is it 1 page, 2 to 3 pages, half a juzu, 1 juzu, quarter, 2 juzu? Is it obedience and kind? Were you kind to me? Then you have to write yes and no. Then education and learning. I spend a good amount of time learning and reading, writing at home. Yes, no. Islamic manners. And then I listed extra credit also, good deeds, from the same ayah that I shared. Inna hasanati yuzhibna sayyat. At the bottom of that, there is a performance rating. So I listed 10 qualities. One is taqwa. I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me. Obedience, I obey my parents. I show responsible behavior. I'm honest and truthful. I respect others. I show patience in everything I do. I am kind. I control my anger. I keep myself clean, and I am as a role model. So if you are always see this happening, give them 6 points. If they are most of the time, it's a 4. If sometimes it's a 2. And if you see rarely, then give 1. And it's never, of course, 0. So if you would like to use it at your home, but at the end, I recommend to give something. Tell them you did this, and this is my reward for doing something. جزاكم الله خيرا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وجزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Anybody want sign it?
I try to wrap it. Of course, I took time, but yeah. It's like older children. Actually, I have to develop because older children they need different. Yeah. This you can use it up until 4th grade. Yeah. From preschool doesn't need that. They are babies. But you can use it like maybe from kindergarten and up, just as a training. Yeah, although they are not required to pray, but just for the sake of training. Yeah. Oh yeah, sir.
Provide the presentation.
I will send some slides. Yeah, I'll email. I have your inshallah. Oh yeah. I hope you like it. Jazakallah khairan for all sisters. May Allah bless you, inshallah. How was it? Do not forget to sign in so that I can email you some of the slides.
सर्वे भी भेजेंगे ना आप
Sign in if you did not. No, I have it. You have in my when you register. You register? If you register, then I must have your email in my. وإياكم إن شاء الله.
रायन बेटा आप मामा के साथ चले जाओ नो नो गो विथ मामा नो नो सुना टेक
असल में
Where is Mama?
थोड़ा सा टाइम ओवर हो गया लेकिन
नहीं वो तो आखिरी क्लास में तो वी हैव नो चॉइस
हाँ उसको ख़त्म करना था मैंने
मैंने ये घर में मैंने प्रिंट किया बच्चे आप देखें स्मार्ट प्रिंट करके मैंने राहिम को कहा कि लेके आओ प्रिंट आउट उसे प्रिंट वहाँ पड़ा था कमरे में रोज पढ़ने ना आई स्कोर्ड 56
Really?
Yeah. So मैंने कहा how you scored? मैंने from last week actually. I picked this for the last week. Last week what I did. Just so smart.
देखें आप, ये देखें आप इनके दिमाग.
Okay. जाओ आप.
अब उनकी ज़िहानत देखेगा. बड़े जीनियस बच्चे होते हैं भाई ये. हम इनको अंडर एस्टिमेट करते हैं यकीनन. तो जज़ाकल्लाह खैर भाई, आपकी बहुत मसाई इसमें रही हैं एफर्ट, और अल्लाह ताला आपको बहुत जज़ा दे. लेकिन ये कि सबसे अच्छी बात ये है कि नोट्स जो मैंने उठा ली थी, मैं देखा सारे इकट्ठे. मैं असल में इसको चूँकि मेरा दो जगहों से और मुझे ये रिक्वेस्ट आई कि इसको करना है. मज़े वाली बात भी पहले मुझसे न्यूयॉर्क से के बाद दोनों वहाँ करूँगी. इसकी न्यूज़ काफ़ी पहुँच गई है. अब ये चूँकि एक दफ़े डिलीवर हो गया तो फिर मैं इसको बैठ के प्रिंट करूँगा. हाँ, थोड़ा सा शेयरिंग करूँगा. उनको स्क्रीज करके और उनके उसके 2-3 बुलेट बना के छोटा करना. हाँ नहीं, वो जरा सा वो हुआ मुझसे. नहीं, वो मुझे अंदाजा हो गया था, मुझे अंदाजा हो गया था. वो मेरी शॉर्ट कमिंग है वो. See a real scenario, then they have the ability to connect. life stories. But actually, yeah, because your situation is different than mine. Your situation is different from you. So when you stay, then you will be able to go to the bottom of that and try to connect that bullet into the situation at source. What happens in my home is different than what happens in your home. Do you agree with that? Yes. So if you just keep on saying or reading things, then you will still learn that. And I admit the fact that I am guilty of taking some time, which is also part of experience, that development this whole where now I realize important areas, like for example, there was a lot of more interest in those behaviors, punishment. So we'll put this on the scale of more important to less important. Was waiting for I think it should be done in a separate sense. If you would like to start, especially the older one, should not be viewed in front of the younger one. Because they feel like they're adults. And even the younger ones, should be reprimanded in a separate session. That would be more effective, because there is no point of having an older kid of what evil deeds your younger brother do. Why are you saying then you can generalize it without naming the specific action. You can generalize it. Yeah, you can generalize it. Point. Yeah, point. You can, hide the specific action. So it means you're not targeting the first. So you said something happened, and we talked about it. Oh, we should do this. We should not do this. So this way. Yeah, that's the same way I think that when you deliver a program of safety, you are always